They were loaded up again on the buses and taken to another part of the compound. Blanco said the shackles were so tight that he couldn't walk as fast as the guards wanted, so they beat him until he passed out and dragged him the rest of the way.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday.
The White House has yet again gone viral for all the wrong reasons and is currently getting globally ridiculed, roasted, and raged at for this video right here. Allow me to explain, because while it may seem trivial and even humorous on the surface, what this scandal exposes is so much darker and more disturbing. Not only for its flagrant disregard of basic human rights, as we'll see, but also because it is just scraping the bottom of the barrel and we are not ready for what is about to come.
Let's start by looking at this chart that shows law enforcement spending this year before the Triple B passed. The triple bypass, if you will. We're giving ourselves a heart attack with this fucking thing. All right, look, you see the amount that we spend on immigration enforcement currently? It's already greater than the FBI, DEA, DHS, ATF, IRS, and any other three-letter agency combined.
You can help us fight back against Trump's inhumane insanity by dropping a like and subscribing, and let's take a step back and start at the beginning here. Now, if you've been on the internet at all in the past month, you have likely heard this sound.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4.
Now, this is a viral trending audio, and it was from a company in the UK called Jet2 as a promotion for their vacation package that went absolutely viral, and the sound was being used by all kinds of people on TikTok, on Instagram, specifically in funny instances like this that show travel disasters, like this woman using a fire extinguisher at the airport. The person who voiced the ad for the viral now sound and meme spoke to NBC News recently saying this:
going viral for something just that is really funny and joyful is just like, that's quite a wonderful experience. It sort of went quite massive in the UK, and it's been like rolling over for like quite a while, people sending these kinds of memes. But like the American thing I have just found so mind-blowing, because they don't even know what Jet2 holidays is. They don't have holidays, they have vacations. Holidays is like Christmas, right? But they just like have got so on board with the joyful silliness of it.
Right, the campaign was intended to be joyful, silly, things Donald Trump feels when he sees a 10-year-old girl.
Thursday night, you're going up the escalator? I'm gonna be dating her in 10 years, can you believe it?
For quick context, the song in the back of that ad is from an artist named Jess Glynn, and we'll get to her in a second. But yesterday, the same day that this article came out, that we'll dive into in a second as well, the White House posted this disturbing and disgusting use of that viral meme with this footage of their deportation efforts.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. But now, with Jet2 holidays.
I literally just made a video the other day about how Donald Trump and the White House is cringy as Instagram is going viral for all the wrong reasons, and how the culture in the comments has completely shifted. And this post is no different. But now, this is getting much more global attention. How is this the official White House account? What the F is even happening anymore? This is a disgusting use of social media from the official White House account. Whoever runs this should be ashamed. Hateful, un-Christian, un-American propaganda. What is wrong with you? And my personal favorite, I can't wait to find out who was posting this when we have our version of the Nuremberg trials. This goes beyond, I was just following orders. When the time comes, can we remember to ask after who ran these social media accounts? I know we will have bigger fish to fry, but these guys deserve to be named and noted. And that sentiment appears to be being shared by Jess Glynn, the song's creator. Jet2 also condemned the White House's use of it. That's a foreign company condemning an official government account for using their ad campaign as a heinous, inhumane disregard for human dignity and rights. That's a phrase only a Trump administration could elicit. This post honestly makes me sick, she wrote. My music is about love, unity, and spreading positivity, never about division or hate. Even the adverse voiceover actor that we saw earlier, Zoe Lister, said she would never condone her voiceover, quote, being used in promotion with Trump and his abhorrent policies. She told the BBC, "The Jet 2 meme has spread a lot of joy and humor around the world, but the White House video shows that Trump has neither." And my God, that could not be a truer statement. Please brace yourselves, folks, because this expose that just came out yesterday about what is happening to migrants on planes from the Trump administration is deeply disturbing. You know it's bad when the story begins, "Now that he's free, Leonardo Jose Colmenares Solorzano, a 31-year-old Venezuelan, wants the world to know that he was tortured over 4 months in a Salvadoran prison. He said guards stomped on his hands, poured filthy water into his ears, and threatened to beat him if he didn't kneel alongside other inmates and lick their backs. Now that he's free, Juan Jose Ramos, 39, insists he's not who President Donald Trump says he is. He is not a member of a gang or an international terrorist, just a man with tattoos whom immigration agents spotted riding in a car with a Venezuelan sticker on the back. Now that he's free." Andrew Omar Blanco Bonilla, 40, said he wondered every day of his time in prison whether he'd hold his mother in his arms again. He's relieved to be back home in Venezuela, but struggles to make sense of why he and the other men were put through that ordeal in the first place. And just off of that, either the Trump administration is doing the exact opposite of what MAGA and all these Nazis say they want, namely putting criminals back on the street because these men are free, or they weren't criminals to begin with. We're a group of people who I consider had the bad luck of ending up on this black list. They are bewildered, frightened, and angry. Some said their feelings about what happened were still so raw, they had trouble finding the words to describe them. All of the men said they were abused physically and mentally during their imprisonment. Once inside, guards stripped them down to white boxers and sandals. Those who tried to refuse to have their heads shaven were beaten. Blanco said he heard their screams and didn't dare resist. Humiliated and enraged, he did as he was told, head down, body limp. They were loaded up again on the buses and taken to another part of the compound. Blanco said the shackles were so tight that he couldn't walk as fast as the guards wanted, so they beat him until he passed out and dragged him the rest of the way. Inside, they dropped him so hard that his head banged on the floor. As he opened his eyes and saw the guards, bright lights and polished concrete floor, he asked, "God, why am I here? Why?" The men said the beatings by the guards were random, severe, and constant. Guards lashed out at them with their fists and batons. They kicked them while wearing heavy work boots and shot them at close range with rubber pellets. Just as vicious, the men said, was the psychological abuse. They lost track of the days because they were never allowed outdoors. Blanco said that whenever he asked a guard for the time, they'd mock him. "Why do you want to know what time it is? Have somewhere to be? Is someone waiting for you?" Over and over again, the men said that the guards called them criminals and terrorists and sons of bitches who deserved to be locked up. They said the guards told them so often that they were nobodies and that no one, not even their families, cared about them, that some started to believe it. It goes on. This is a heart-wrenching article that I will link down below so you can read through it if you want. And while all of that is happening, the official account of the White House is posting meme videos with the Jet 2 holiday sound, making fun of this whole situation as if it's some kind of joke. While, by the way, they are giving billions of dollars to Trump's Gestapo agents that are throwing people in concentration camps.
Which is insane. But I want to be clear that this is how much we were spending on immigration enforcement before Trump signed the Triple B. This is how much we're spending on immigration enforcement now. We are about to direct an ungodly and unprecedented sum of money towards immigration enforcement and border control. This taxpayer money, your money, is going to be used to fund a massive internal army devoted to racially profiling, arresting, and deporting law-abiding residents of this country. And I don't think we are ready for how this is going to transform the cities in which we live and America as a whole. We need to talk about what is about to happen, and we need to start building the solidarity we need to fight back. I am not exaggerating. From now to 2029, ICE has the funding to make it the 16th largest military force on the planet. ICE's annual funding is now somewhere between the military of Italy, which spends nearly $31 billion a year to fend off those pesky Phoenician raiders, and Canada, which spends $41 billion annually to protect itself from, well, us, actually. So how is this money going to be divided? Well, $46.5 billion of it is supposed to go towards building the border wall, which is a lot of money to spend on something that can be defeated by a $5 ladder. Another $45 billion of your money will go towards building immigration detention centers across America. That's $45 billion worth of Alligator Alcatraz, the already infamous Florida immigration detention site that features a lack of water, power outages, mosquitoes, and worm-infested food. Now, Alligator Alcatraz holds 3,000 people, and ICE is looking to add detention space for 80,000 more. So get ready for 266 more facilities just like that somewhere in your backyard. Hope you like maggots. But hey, you can't fill a detention center unless you have enough black-masked ICE officers to grab people from their homes and workplaces. So the bill also includes $30 billion for hiring and training 10,000 new ICE officers. Hey, are you a hurricane scientist or cancer researcher fired by Trump? Apply for a new job busting the heads of innocent farm workers. Instead of saving lives, you'll be destroying them. That's the American way. So let's be honest about what this is. This spending amounts to a complete reorientation of the entirety of American law enforcement to be against immigrants.
Under this bill, by 2028, you're talking about spending effectively 80% of all federal law enforcement dollars will go to immigration enforcement.
I mean, this is insane. 80% of our law enforcement dollars are going to be spent prosecuting people for committing civil immigration offenses. You know who that's great for? Criminals. If you want to commit tax fraud or some light larceny, now's the time because the feds don't give a shit about that anymore. The FBI even deprioritized white-collar crime this year to focus on immigration. So the next Sam Bankman-Fried is going to be Sam Bankman-Free just so we can lock up a few more of the people who pick your strawberries. And this new enforcement regime could last forever because the explicit goal of this bill is to create a bureaucracy of repression that is almost impossible to remove. Here's former acting ICE director Josh Sandweg.
We're going to see an ICE that it is going to be hard for any future administration to shrink it, and its capacity to deport will certainly be at the highest level it's ever been in the history of the United States.
This is nothing less than a structural change to American government. It injects harsh anti-immigrant repression into the very DNA of our governmental system and makes that one of its fundamental goals and mechanisms. And that is a big change for America because we were, for most of our history, the country that welcomed immigrants. Immigration was like America's thing. It was our superpower. It literally gave us an economic leg up on other nations because people around the world wanted to come here to contribute to our economy. And now we are doing the opposite. We are building a permanent governmental infrastructure to attack and suppress immigrants on a massive scale and with brutal violence. And that is, simply put, going to transform life in our cities in ways that we are not ready for. To get a preview of what's going to happen where you live, let's look at what's happening in Los Angeles, where I live right now. For the past few months, ICE has terrorized our city, kidnapping people off the street and causing massive disruption to daily life. They've been met by major resistance from protesters, but Trump has used the city to test out the fascist tactics that new ICE funding will allow him to spread to every other city in the country. Let's rewind quickly back to May. Trump was unhappy with the pace of deportations, so the DHS increased its quota for daily arrests from 1,000 to 3,000, and this required a change of tactics. Stephen Miller, the architect of Trump's immigration policy, told ICE officials that they needed to up their deportation game. Rather than develop lists of actual illegal immigrants, he instructed them to just go out there and arrest illegal aliens at Home Depot or wherever else they might be. You know, Home Depot, the place people go every day to buy nails and toilets. That's where they're picking up these supposed criminals. You know, when a law enforcement agency picks up someone who has allegedly committed a crime, when there's a warrant for their arrest, when they have probable cause, that's law enforcement. But when it picks up random people because of where they're hanging out and the color of their skin in order to meet an arbitrary arrest quota, that's called fascism, plain and simple.
I understand that the Nazi comparisons get old after a while, I understand that the right seems to think it's a joke. And get your kids out of the room because the rant is coming. But when you do shit like this, boy, oh boy, I cannot wait for our version of the Nuremberg trials where we get to fucking throw you in shackles in jail and fill all these fucking horrible prisons that you built up with you. And unfortunately, maybe a little bit fortunately, I think Donald Trump will die before we get the chance to put him in one of these. But the rest of the people who got him there, who post these things, who go along with these things as if they're just following orders, and especially the ones who fucking get some kind of sick pleasure out of it, oh boy, you guys just fucking wait until the table turns. Because I don't know about some of these limp dick Democrats, actually I do, but if things swing back the other way, the way they have swung for Trump and his MAGA regime and the right, I'm not saying I'll be the one, but it's gonna be hard to stop the people who are this pissed off at you, who have no empathy for you now because you haven't shown an ounce to anyone in this goddamn world. It's gonna be real hard to stop them from doing any of this kind of shit to you and yours. And I know you guys aren't the best for empathy or fucking logic, but maybe chew on that the next time you want to post or like or comment on something like this and say, this is so funny, hilarious. But then again, maybe I'm wrong, because it seems like MAGA genuinely gets off on fucking giving up their own rights. Vote for the big beautiful bill, cheer it on, cheer on a pedo king who's hiding the Epstein files from you, and then when he pardons Ghislaine Maxwell so that she'll say he was never involved, you'll just eat it up and believe it because you are the scum of the earth, and that is just not even fair to the word scum. You don't get pity. You don't get the empathy you won't give to others when you proudly proclaim yourself a Nazi and wear it as a literal badge of honor. Because, frankly, you don't deserve half the rights you are taking away from innocent immigrants and other human beings. And I wish so hard, folks, that I could approach this with happiness and love. And we do try to do that day in and day out here at Really American. But I, personally, with these people, no longer can. I do not have pity. I do not have empathy. It kills me to say it, but I have hate. I have so much hate for these inhuman beings. And it scares me because that is what got us here in the first place. I just fucking noticed that even in the White House's video, they're blurring the ICE agent's face. Fucking Gestapo. Apologies again for another long-winded rant, folks, but if you agree and would like to see these hateful, un-Christian, un-American propagandists and PDF files and horrific terrorists running our current government get put on trial like the Nazis did at Nuremberg, then by all means, drop a like, subscribe, because this resistance is more important now than ever.
People, real people, are going to be harassed, hurt, and killed because of this bill. But as that happens, I think we need to continually remind ourselves that most Americans do not want this. And you know, for those who do, for those who, at the very least, voted for it, I don't think they realize what's about to happen. I don't think that they're ready for how this is going to change their communities. And as that change ripples across the country, I think a lot of them are going to realize they don't want it either.
For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you guys in the next one.